Jamboard on the screen. And then we'll go to the second slide. Okay, so when we asked for your feedback in the survey, there was this overwhelming response that one of the main things that people would like to see going forward is more interaction between IWG members. So the presentations were great, but generally people want to connect more. And so we have some ideas about how those connections could improve and how we could, some things we can build into the sessions to help us interact with each other some more, but we'd love to hear what your take on this particular question is. So grab a sticky note and populate your questions directly on the screen. I'm going to open mine up to put my suggestions in. I'm working off of a tiny screen today, so it's hard to get a view of everything. And we'll just keep a couple of seconds, a couple of minutes here to let everybody get their suggestions in.
Kia ora, Wilfreda, how are you?
Hi, Amy. Happy New Year.
You too. I'm a bit confused. Are we meant to be adding to this Miro board?
To the Jamboard directly, yes. So you'll find the link in the chat. You click there,
cool.
and then you choose a sticky and type your responses on the sticky notes related to the questions that are in red.
Could you chuck it back in, please? Because I joined a couple of minutes late, so I can't see the history.
Sure.
Thank you. Awesome. Thanks so much.
Also, you can write in Spanish or English. Se puede escribir en castellano o en inglés. Tenemos también la traducción y luego vamos a ir comentando en ambos idiomas. We will work in both languages.
Also, as people are putting their answers in, if someone puts up a suggestion that you agree with or that you'd like to endorse, you can do that with a check mark or a star or a smiley face, whatever feels right for you, but just some way of indicating to us that more people agree with one particular suggestion. That way we know what's popular and what's most preferred across the community. Okay, Slack channels are popular. And of course, working on getting to know each other more. We'll give a few more seconds here before we move to the next slide.
Hi, everyone. If anyone is not able to access the Jamboard, please like open your mic or put it in the chat so we can support you with that.
Okay, let's move to the next slide for the next question. Okay, so here, let's get into the action plan itself. So again, this year, we want to make sure we give you the information that is of most value and most relevant to the work that you all are doing. So here, please put in the ideas of speakers you'd like to hear from, or topics you'd like to discuss or learn about, or projects that you'd like to share with the working group. We've put in some of the ideas that we've received already. So again, if you agree with those, or if you want to add new ones, if you agree, you can put a check mark or some indication that you agree. And that way we can easily see the topics, again, that are most popular and most high in demand. So there's a column for each category. You just put the sticky note in the place where you think it belongs.
It is very, very important also to share speakers' ideas so that we can then reach out and as the ODC. So aside from the topics, if you have an idea of a possible speaker or an institution that you'd like to hear around that topic, that would be great. So that it helps us help you to get the right speakers for the sessions.
Yeah, and also like feel free to nominate yourselves, given that in the previous Jamboard, one of the topics was like having internal stakeholders as opposed to external stakeholders, like put your names on it. So we also make sure that we include you in the agenda. Or if there is any session that you would like it to be like just an open discussion as opposed to a panel.
Oh, I think we lost the tail end of what you were saying, Flor.
The last part?
Yes, after open discussion.
Yeah. No, and also like also like if we are if you want to have an open discussion on a specific topic, like let us know. And we won't have a panel instead.
Mm-hmm. Okay, looks like we're still getting some ideas. Great. And again, under the project section, if there's something you've been working on that you're ready to share with the group, if you have questions about something you've been working on around a certain topic, that's a great option for projects that could be shared as well. Looks like things have slowed down. Okay, let's move on to the next slide. Oh, there's still some coming in. I think we'll keep the Jamboard available after the session as well. So if people want to add comments after we've gone through this process, that's okay too. Okay, so we should be seeing an agenda. Sorry, my screen's. Yeah, so there's a calendar up now. So our next step would be to build the agenda itself. And part of that will be the events to incorporate the sessions around events that are going on in your communities. So here we'd like to ask that you put in any events or conferences that you're aware of throughout the year that are going on that we can then frame our sessions around. So some of them are already in here. For example, the action plan that we're working on now in January, Open Data Week is in March, the Data Festival is going on in October. I think Open Government Week is in May as well, so I'll add that one in. So anything that you're aware of going on in the community can be populated on this slide.
So I'm seeing a lot of post-its, which is great. That also include your kind of national events or local events that you're organizing yourselves, so that we can also help promote all the other events other than the international or maybe regional ones. I'm seeing a couple of those, so that's great. But let's do that so we can all help out with also the dissemination.
May is looking a little over full.
A little bit. It's a busy month.
What is going on May, isn't it?
Lack of planning and coordination is what's going on there.
It's good that we're doing this on January.
Yeah. Well, I guess that's all.
Yeah. It's great that everyone's staying away from December. Keep the holidays clear.
December and Jan are off limits.
Yeah.
Paul, mate, are you aware of anything down here in New Zealand or Australia? I'm slightly out of the loop.
Yeah, not actually aware of anything happening down here at the moment, because we're not there to make it happen.
Yeah, pretty much. I was going to say, oh God, maybe I can get the Christchurch folk to do something.
Okay, so it's clear that if anybody is planning on doing an event from scratch, May is not the year, the month to do it.
Mhm.
So if you wanna,
Would-
if the date is still not set, do not use May.
Yeah, or June, as everyone like tries to recover from May, going, oh my gosh. June looks good. I mean, July rather, August.
There's gonna be,
Yeah.
as it is Open Gov week, pretty much everybody's gonna do events on that month anyway. And on that week, we will probably do something because the call is for everybody to do something during that week. That's probably why it's so populated.
That's very cool.
I'm surprised
Also,
the fall isn't busier.
In countries like Ecuador, for example, July and August are like holidays here, summer holidays usually. So that's
Yeah.
Yeah, August, it's usually really calm month because it's kind of northern summer holidays. February is also usually a calm month because it's southern summer holidays. So this shows in the calendar perfectly. Okay.
We find New Zealand, we find February is like super busy because everyone panics after 2 months off and goes, oh my God, we have to do all the things. Ah! Ridiculous.
I'm surprised September and October aren't busier. Typically, that's when our crazy season is here too.
Yeah,
They are coming.
yeah, that's crazy conference season. I guess a lot of people haven't planned them in yet, eh?
Yeah.
Okay. Wilfreda, up to you when we move to the next. Sorry, we're just commenting as everybody is filling in.
It's better than silence.
Yeah. That's true.
Thought, might it be possible, useful, I don't know, this is open to the floor, to turn this into an actual like subscribable calendar to which we can add through the year, but we can subscribe to it so we can actually see what's coming up. Because I know I'm a shocker for forgetting about stuff until it's too late. And then, yeah, if we can add to it as well, then we've got this living resource.
That would be great. And we can also let kind of the adopters, even us ourselves, once we come up with new events, we can add it there.
Exactly. So yeah, so as we're aware of something, we pop it in there, and we can all subscribe to it, so then we can see.
That's a great idea.
Sounds like a great plan, actually.
I'm sure we have the technology. I think it's called a Google Calendar. I roll.
Now, and it's good that anybody can kind of join in. It's not mandatory. Yeah. So if you like to have this calendar pop up in your calendar, you just yeah.
But if you don't care, that's fine as well.
Totally.
Cool. Okay, so we'll go on to the next slide.
Okay, let me go there. There we go.
Great. So this is the final question we have for you today. How can we attract new IWG voices to our community? So we've been meeting regularly now for quite some time, and we've been talking about how we can engage new voices, new communities, new regions around the world to be part of the great work that we do and part of these discussions so that we can all learn from each other. We have one example from the Afro leadership where they're advocating for cities and countries to endorse ODC in Africa. If we can do similar things in your region, here is the place that we'd like to know what those things are. So again, grab a sticky note and pop your ideas in. I'll try to summarize them as they come in.
One of the things we have already done since last year is to have interpretation, in every session. So having Spanish and English, which is the two more spoken languages within our adopters, as a go in every implementation working group session. That's not enough, of course, but it opened up the door for every session to everybody within our community.
I'm seeing here, engage with our local and government and academic and private sector friends to get them involved. That's a great suggestion.
I mean, that's literally shoulder tapping people, right? Going,
yeah.
but that's the suggestion for how to do it. As well, just have something in the back pocket, but also if we do it like that, it means that potentially we're on message, so we can talk about why we're involved, right? But it's also more of a sort of like, this is what the IWG is about. This is why you want to join. That we can trot out.
Something I'm conscious of because we've tried before, but I haven't found the solution yet. But I'm just thinking about time zones. So like we don't see Asia here, but even Australia. You know, we're just on the cusp of a user-friendly time zone here. 6 o'clock in the morning during the winter. But whether we can try and have, you know, one meeting a year.
If anyone has experience or contacts in those areas as well, that's very useful for us to know. For example, if you work within the Asian community and have contacts that we could leverage, that's super helpful.
I'll jump in. I used to work in Myanmar, so as we discussed with Freda. So Southeast Asia, let me know. Even though I'm in Colombia now, but yeah, life changes.
So you're volunteering, Christian. That's what I'm hearing.
Yes. Yes, I am.
Fantastic. Great. Oh, I like this one. Perhaps to run global award on open data, maybe for best practices in government, civil society, academia, and private sector.
That is cool.
Great. This one it's a tougher question, but certainly one that we can continue to reflect on. Oh, that's interesting. An ODC summit. Nancy, a dedicated summit to ODC.
That would be very cool.
If you help us fundraise to get that going, we would love to do that.
You can even have the award at the ODC summit.
Yeah, we already call for presentations beyond the implementation working group. There's a lot of speakers that just come for the sessions and are not kind of permanent members of the implementation working group. One thing that we also understood from the survey is that there's a lot of members within the implementation working group that would like to share their own projects and their own questions around what they're doing. So we also want to make sure that we open that space.
This one's interesting. Set up an online collab communication space. Another way to get people involved, even if they don't want to, can't join the monthly meetings, for example. I know there was a similar comment on one of the other questions we asked about how we can connect, the online forum suggestion.
Yeah, so that's come up a few times, people saying, there was a whole one about like, what does this look like? Is it Slack or is it something else? So setting that up, I think, enables people to start getting involved. Like back in the day when I was involved with the Canadian G-Collab people, you wouldn't have found me attending meetings or anything should they have had them. But I was all over the space in the chat doing stuff and getting up to trouble. So that may be something for people.
Yeah.
So should we try to enhance participation via the mailing group, or another channel should be created?
I think part of it is like, what's the function, right? So if it's a place for people to have like chats and conversations on different topics and things like that, you probably want more of a messaging platform. I'm also aware that, oh God, Slack is another channel and everyone's got channel fatigue. But email lists, I find often, unless they're very active, but they're difficult. They're very high friction for conversations. They're really good for putting out specific messages. But I'm curious to see what other people think about that.
I'd agree with that. I think a bit more instant or chance for interaction rather than posting something and I mean, even on LinkedIn, but that requires being on LinkedIn, but you get a bit more conversation space there.
Exactly. Or like forming a Mastodon instance, right? And people, this is the thing with channels, is like everyone's either on them or not, but people are willing to join stuff. And you can experiment, right, as well, and just sort of see what people, where they want to be. The other thing is, it might be possible to use an existing space, you know, and have a space within an existing space rather than forming a whole new space as well. So I've seen that happen around data stuff, you know. People just say, hey, can we carve out a bit of this? And you're already existing in an enormous community. And so, but this is the ODC. So start the open data worldwide Slack instance and see where it goes, you know. Because that would be very cool.
Yeah, we'll figure that out. In LATAM, not related to ODC, but the LATAM open data community decided to create a Telegram super group. Cool. And it's amazing how it has stayed without any kind of formal explanation. You just share things around projects, questions, like we're looking for somebody who can do this, we are promoting this. In the World Cup, maybe we saw a couple of messages around soccer, but it stayed mostly like a 99% messaging platform for projects related things. So it's a Telegram massive group.
That's so cool. Here Telegram is mostly used by conspiracy theorists and dodgy people, so stay away from it and go.
As well, we need to understand the best platform for a global thing like this.
Yeah, I can imagine it will end up being at least Slack or something like it in the first instance, because it's such a common thing.
Yeah, and it's just easy to get burning questions answered faster with something like Slack. If you're working on something and a question comes at that moment and you need to reach somebody at that moment.
Exactly, and people can make their own channels and stuff. I mean, Rocket Chat's great because it's open source, but then somebody's got to be maintaining it and updating it, and then, you know, this is what the Canadian government faced with it. But I'm a big fan of start something and see rather than trying to plan it perfectly.
Fair.
Any new ideas?
Yes,
here?
there's with help from the international organizations like the OECD, UNICEF, World Bank, EU data teams to help, again, pull people in. That's a great idea. And we have those contacts.
Also for our LATAM colleagues, like, please remember that we have translation. So if you want to share your ideas in Spanish, like, let us know. I can see some, I don't want to start spotting people, but I see a lot of endorsers in the call. So feel free to speak in Spanish. We have translation.
And also write in Spanish. Pueden escribir en castellano los post-its y los traducimos. No hay problema.
Okay, let's see if we have anything new. Document our learnings and open them up to the community beyond the blogs. Any specific ideas beyond blogs in terms of how to release those documented learnings?
I added that post-it because I feel like we learn so much during the sessions and we share so much. And sometimes, like, people do not have maybe the time, or they cannot see like all the blogs in one. So trying to think a way of linking the videos, probably an interactive PDF to connect videos with information, with learnings. I feel like there's so much going on during the sessions that maybe a blog is not enough, or we should like find a way of connecting all the blogs into like one document or one PDF.
Okay. We also have an online directory of organizations and researchers working on open data and subtopics. We had talked a little bit about this when we were sort of brainstorming for and preparing for this session about maybe creating a document telling who's who within the working group. I think, Natty, you had mentioned that as a suggestion.
Yeah, like having, of course, asking first who wants to have their personal info there, but like who's the point of contact for government, who is kind of from the endorsers, who is here, and what topics they work on, so that anybody can just jump in and like, I'm looking for somebody from, I don't know, like an NGO, a civil society organization that works on climate change and data. Where can I look? I go there and then I find a possible speaker, colleague, or whatever. And that's kind of easy for us to do anyway, because we do, I see here, connect with OGP regional. We do speak with the support unit and the regional leads a lot because of many projects. I haven't spoken with Ivy for a long time, so I should send an email. But yeah, that's part of what we do for ODC work pretty much every month.
There's one suggestion here to loop in students, particularly data science students, invite them to sessions on stories of innovative uses of open data. I really like that idea.
Well, Amy and I went to Canterbury University, talked to Masters of Data Science, and we were just overwhelmed with their positive response. They were just so enthused. And we just basically told them a whole lot of stories of how open data was being used in Wellington, and it just sparked their imagination. Yeah,
indeed. One of them came up afterwards to say, are you aware of any jobs going around this? And said, no, keep your ears to the ground. A couple of years later, I moved down here, and she's now part of a really exciting startup using her knowledge and remember this. So it's amazing how these things happen.
Yeah.
And they're so keen to get involved with stuff, right? Because they're young and energetic and not jaded yet.
Yeah, you said the word enthusiastic, and I wondered, what's that like?
So yeah, I think there's lots to leverage there.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there is nothing stopping students from attending these sessions.
No, they don't know about them though. And I don't know about y'all, but I don't know many students.
No.
We in Slovenia, we had a similar experience. We now have more than 7 or 8 years working with the students of Faculty of Informatics. So they're doing the seminar work, and public institutions prepare some challenges for them. And they, in 6 months, they prepare some results of data visualization of using the open data. It was also an amazing story. It came up. The most important issue which came out is a creation of a application where can you check all the history of your car. You just use the VIN number and you can get all the kilometers during the life cycle of the car. So you can see the transparency of that. And it's sometimes interesting that the kilometers sometimes goes up and the next year goes down. And it's really, we have the proof.
Very
that
interesting.
And this is what the results of the working in that student collaboration.
Very
That's
cool.
so
Yes, that's a wonderful idea. Thank you to the person who added that in, and it's been endorsed. A couple of check marks there. I think we covered everything. Yeah, we talked about the Asian community, local governments. Anything else that anyone can think of? The time zone, alternating time zones is an interesting suggestion, logistically, how we would do that. Maybe a challenge.
Well, I think and that would be eventually as it grows, because we have previously sort of alternated, just knowing that, for example, some people won't rock up to various sessions because they can't do the time, like 2 o'clock in the
Right.
morning. But it may be that as we, we don't launch straight into alternating them, but it may be that every now and, we start slow and scale kind of thing. And once we have more people coming from these other time zones, say, okay, who's keen for an alternate time zone arrangement? And if people put their hands up, it could be something like that, but it's always a bit of a nightmare.
Yeah, something to consider for sure. Okay, it looks like responses have slowed there. Maybe I'll just go back, since we have some time, to look at some of the responses that we didn't talk through, to see if it sparks anything else. On to the slide about the action plan, slide 3, maybe, Natty? Yeah, this one. So in terms
maybe
of this,
we can decide which theme we will discuss in the next implementation working group meeting.
yeah,
I think that's
Yeah,
so-
for instance, like data partnerships was like highly voted, and I think that Christian added a project on data partnerships from Open North, and then we also have data towards network in Slovenia. I believe probably Arturo added it. It's from OECD. So no, you, Alice. Okay.
Yeah, but we're working with Arturo and his and Cecilia and Barbara Baldi. So
which other has been highly ranked?
data governance looks like it's quite popular as well.
yeah, also data reuse, reuso de datos abiertos, and data and smart cities. Something that many of you mentioned in the survey is that we want more space or more time to discuss, and not a lot of time to hear a speaker. And I think that it's a great recommendation or suggestion. But also we need, of course, participation. Maybe a good idea is to think possible questions before the session to ask in the minute that we have the open floor. But I think that it's a really good suggestion.
For the data partnerships, I already talked to some of my colleagues that are more of experts here at Open North. So if there needs to be a speaker immediately for February, like we could be ready. So just throwing up that out there, and same for data governance. So
Perfect.
Yeah, just so
Thank you. So I think our plan would be to take these suggestions offline and then use them to, of course, build the plan for the year. But it's very much based on the indications that you've given us here of what you'd like to see first, and then subsequently to that. So I think data partnerships, data governance, and smart cities, that bunch is probably where we'll start the beginning of the year and then build from there. Okay, so I think, Mechi, about how long can we give access to the Jamboard to in case people still want to keep putting their ideas in?
Maybe 1 or 2 weeks more, because we can start drafting the annual action plan, but it's a work in progress. So if you want to add more topic or themes, of course, it's okay. Anyone that want to explain why write some theme in the Jamboard? No?
Our expectations for 2023 also are welcome.
Yeah.
Given that
Oh,
we
yeah.
have 15 minutes.
Yeah. Or reflections on 2022, lessons learned are also welcome. Again, all of these ideas help us to shape the action plan for the next year. So the more insight we have, the more we can build sessions to your liking.
Yeah. Something that I think it could be great, it's about the speakers and the member of the implementation working group to upload their presentation or the project in a Drive folder, because we have created a Drive folder, but sometimes we didn't update all the presentation of the speakers and the information that the members share in the meeting. So I think that it's important to have in mind that we have this tool to share our materials, information, initiatives. It's very basic because it's a Drive, but I think that could be useful too.
I agree. Then it's easy to go back to if you're working on that particular topic and you need additional resources. You know where to go to find them.
Yeah.
See. Under speakers, there's just one new addition there. How is the third wave of open data work actually going?
So that relates to the GovLab being signaled
Yes.
as a speaker. So we will call Stefan.
Yes, we will.
He's a very good colleague and in front of the Open Data Charter. So
He closed 2021, I think.
yeah.
2020, was it 2021 or start of 2022? Yeah.
As the GovLab is leading kind of the third wave of open data idea, we will get them here. One of the things that I wanted to share with everybody, that I don't know if you've all been able to see the survey. Voy a hablar en castellano, así para uso mi lengua. En la encuesta lo que les preguntábamos era si querían participar de una feria que queremos organizar para el Día de los Datos Abiertos. Entonces, la idea es que desde la carta podamos ayudar a organizar una serie de eventos abiertos, digamos, no solamente para el Implementation Working Group, sino para la comunidad de datos abiertos, para que ustedes, tanto los miembros gubernamentales como los miembros de organizaciones de sociedad civil y academia, puedan presentar sus propios proyectos como parte de la comunidad de la carta. Entonces, por eso preguntábamos si tenían algún proyecto para presentar y ganas de participar de esa feria. Dependiendo de cuántos proyectos presentemos, vamos a hacer X cantidad de sesiones a lo largo de esa semana. Entonces, ahí también, si no llenaron la encuesta y están interesados en poder participar, háganoslo saber, porque la idea es también poder, eso, como hablábamos también de los eventos, para que incluyan en la agenda sus eventos, tanto nacionales como locales, podamos ayudar cada vez más a difundir el trabajo que todos ustedes están haciendo usando la plataforma de la carta como el disparador, digamos. Entonces, eso también es importante. Nos contestaron varios las encuestas y les agradecemos muchísimo, pero que tengan eso en cuenta. Va a ser alrededor del Día de Datos Abiertos, pero toda esa semana. Entonces, no solo los proyectos que quieran presentar dentro de una sesión de Implementation Working Group, sino que esto sería a la comunidad más amplia de datos abiertos. Ok, han incorporado proyectos en la parte de proyectos. Genial. Okay, so sorry for the Spanish, but I'm switching between Spanish and English.
No, don't apologize. I wish I could read some of these stickies for you, but I'm afraid to butcher the Spanish, so I won't venture to.
I'll try to translate, but there's a couple of projects in Spanish which have to do with like the national open data policy for Honduras, because they're developing it. So they want to share it with the community and also get feedback from them, from us actually. Then there's tools from the Cuenca city in Ecuador that's working on open data. They want to share those tools with the broader community. So yeah, there's a couple of LATAM representatives here, and it's good to share not only tools as for example the city of Cuenca example, but also bring in, as Ecuador wants to do, kind of bringing their in development policy to get also feedback from people that have already gone through that process. As I always say, the do's and don'ts.
That's really great to hear. Around the self-assessment tool, we are, like, the government of Canada is working to develop that for open data. So being able to come without it being cooked and getting feedback on it there's a great place. This is a great place to be able to do that.
Yeah, that's the idea. We are kind of a safe place to share. Okay, so we're going to leave this open for 2 more weeks.
Yeah.
If you have any new ideas, just add a post-it.
And if there are questions, I know that we've talked about the mailing list being sort of a slower means of communicating, but it is the means that we have right now. So if there are questions that come up during the course of the month, until we get something faster or something more user-friendly in place, feel free to use the mailing list to ask those questions and to engage with the other members of this community. Other couple of reminders. Again, remember to promote and invite your colleagues to the implementation working group. Again, although we haven't reached new communities yet, we can definitely reach those that we work with on a day-to-day basis. They're always welcome to join us here. And I think that's it in terms of announcements. Anything else that I forgot to mention? Machi?
Not that I think of.
No, I think that's it.
No, so we will plan the next session about data partnership. And also Daniela said in the chat that in Argentina, they are working in the formalization of open policy, and she will share with us I think that it's a law or rule or something like that, with the group to give them feedback and comments. So yes, Daniela, cuando lo tengan, lo comparten. Gracias. No, I think that's it's okay. We will work on the action plan, and of course will be an open drive. So if you have to leave comment there, it's okay for us.
Great. Once again, thank you all for joining us. And of course, we look forward to seeing you again next month. Until then, take care of yourselves.
Muchas gracias.
Thank you.
Gracias.
Thank you, everyone. Have a nice
Thank
day.
you.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Adiós.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Chao.
Ciao.